Hey there, Seahawks fans. It is time for some Seattle Seahawks mailbags, answering all of your questions on the Seattle Seahawks on today's video. We will begin with Javier Jimenez. Should the Seahawks sign Antonio Brown, and is it worth it? Now, that's a very difficult question to ask. The signing part does make some sense. From Antonio Brown's perspective, especially, he wants to play for a good team. He wants to play for a good quarterback. The Seahawks clearly fit that mold with Russell Wilson and, being a very good team. But Brown does remain a pretty significant risk when it comes to he's kind of a crazy person. Now, he seemed to have gotten things back on the straight and narrow, at least remained in the headlines as of late. But that is a gamble for Seattle. If you're going all in this year, trying to win with Wilson, thinking you're in the middle of your window, Antonio Brown does make some sense. But there is some risk involved, not from the money perspective per se, but more from he's going to be a bit of a handful to deal with. So do you want Antonio Brown? Type AB for yes or type FAB for no. A classic question here at Chat Sports. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Now, one of the reasons you guys might type in FAB is because you want Josh Gordon instead, who, of course, played for Seattle last year and seemed to fit pretty well with Russell Wilson. I do think there is if not good chance, at least a chance of Josh Gordon ending back up in Seattle with the Seahawks and reuniting, because he fared well. He got along well with the team, with Wilson. Does he have the same upside of Antonio Brown? No, of course not. But I'd argue perhaps his floor is a little bit higher, given that Antonio Brown burned through 3 teams in less than a year last year. So I think there's a good argument for Josh Gordon. There's also a good argument for Antonio Brown. Just depends on what type of risk-reward balance do you want to have. So pick one for me. Type JG if you want Josh Gordon on the Seattle Seahawks, or type AB if you want Antonio Brown instead. I think I actually lean toward Josh Gordon, but it is a fair toss-up. I know many Seahawks fans want Antonio Brown. I'm going to make that the pinned comment on this video. So scroll down there and cast your votes. JG or AB. Let's go now to Jamie. Would Seattle consider spending the extra money next offseason to sign a premier back like Derrick Henry instead of re-signing Chris Carson? Great question. On one hand, I see the rationale behind it. This is a Seahawks team that really wants to run the football. They want to be actively involved in that area, and they want to pound the rock, especially early on in games. And Derrick Henry clearly would be a significant upgrade over Chris Carson. But I figure at minimum, Henry's looking at $15 million per year. Is that a price tag that the Seattle Seahawks actually want to pay? I'm not sure they want to pay $10 million for a back. I think they'd be more willing to continue to spend premium picks on the position instead and not devote that caliber of money. If they are committed to really being a run-first team, Derrick Henry makes some sense. If they want to focus on the draft pick side, there will be some good players in the draft. I think that actually might make a little bit more sense for the Seattle Seahawks. As you guys should know by now, we have launched our brand new Seahawks-only YouTube channel. You see the link there below. You can go check it out, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. We have a version of this current mailbag up on that channel right now. In fact, it actually has some bonus questions and is ad-free. So go check it out. Subscribe today, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. Next up from, that's a whole lot of O's in there, M76. Cut Abwehi and trade for another right tackle, Jason Peters, and use Shell as a backup. He's got no chance versus the edge guys in the division. I don't think you meant trade Peters as a free agent, but we'll operate under the assumption of signing Jason Peters. I actually like that idea for the Seattle Seahawks. Brandon Shell is passable, but when you're playing against the Chandler Joneses of the world, when he gets lined up against Bosa or Ford or whoever the Niners throw out there, it's going to be tough. That's not going to be a favorable matchup for the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think Abwehi's any good at all. I would totally cut him, sign Jason Peters, let Shell be the best swing tackle in the NFL. That works I like that idea quite a bit for the Seattle Seahawks. So, my friend, I think you've got a very good plan there for Seattle if that's a route they end up choosing. Now, of course, you want more offensive line help to protect your franchise superstar quarterback. That is Russell Wilson. In fact, his jerseys are on sale right now, 25% off at chatsports.com/Russ jersey. They've got the blue and they've got the gray. I like the blue a little bit more. I'll put that link in the comments and the description for you guys. It's chatsports.com/Russ jersey. Over now to Daniel. Should Seattle trade a first rounder and CJ Prosise for Chris Jones? So, first round pick, good start. Prosise isn't on the team anymore. He's not on the roster. He doesn't count, and it's not like you're going to sign and then trade him. So I'm going to pretend the Prosise part isn't included there. The first rounder, Daniel, is a good starting point, I believe, for a Chris Jones trade. If you're Seattle, you got to figure that pick's going to be in the later 20s or even further than that, in the 30s potentially. So my trade idea is this. You give up that first round pick, and then kind of sort of like how that Frank Clark trade went down, you give a future third round pick. So you get to keep your 2021 third. You send a 2022 third round pick, which again should be 80s, 90s at worst. You're probably going to be looking at a late third round pick. So who says no to this trade? You have to pay Chris Jones about $20 million. Maybe that's an issue for Seattle as well. But to get an impact defensive tackle, passing downs, you pull Poona Ford off the field, you throw Chris Jones, Jarran Reed in there, that's a dynamic 1-2 punch. And yeah, your edges aren't great, but you know what? Your interior pressure is not going to be one you want to mess around with. That'd be a good deal for Seattle if you're willing to give up the picks and, of course, the money involved. To Morgan Danielson we go now with a great question that I love. Who is the worst draft bust by the Seahawks in the 21st century? Great question here. The way I looked at it, I kind of narrowed it down to 4 guys. All of them have been drafted since 2004, by the way. Marcus Tubbs, the defensive tackle, I'm pretty sure was top 10 pick. He didn't live up to expectations. Lawrence Jackson, well, he wasn't very good. And then part of a very bad stretch of drafting, 2009, Aaron Curry, the linebacker out of Wake, dubbed as the safest pick in the NFL draft. And then he busted, which proved once and for all there is no such thing as a safe pick in the NFL draft. For the draft capital invested, you can make a really good argument for Aaron Curry, top 5 pick, and didn't come close to living up to his expectations. My argument, though, actually, would be for Malik McDowell. Because, A, I didn't like that pick at the time. Seattle traded down several times, then took him. But he never got on the field because of that accident that injured him. Never made an impact. So Curry and McDowell are the 2 arguments for me. I know Curry, he invested more in him. I would actually go, though, with Malik McDowell. But I do want to hear from you guys as well. Since 2001, 21st century, who is the biggest Seattle Seahawks bust? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Which draft pick, and I, of course, focused on early round guys, which is, I think, fair, was the worst move by Seattle? We know the best one, Wilson, but who was the worst one? Sound off for me in the comments section. Let's go to Andrew now. I've been seeing rumors about Pete Carroll retiring. He is getting old after all. So how many years does he have left as our head coach? Now, Andrew, I think the rumors you're referring to, there was some field goals, the SB Nation site speculation around Pete Carroll. It does make some sense. There is some dot connecting. A, he's going to turn 69, a very nice age, but a very old age, before the 2020 season. And his contract expires after 2021. Look, Pete Carroll looks incredible for his age. I think it's very fair to say he is certainly a young 69. But at a certain point, I do think he'll end up calling it a career. I think that watch begins after this year if there is no extension for that 2021 season, if they don't want to make him a lame duck coach, if you will. But I am curious to see which route the Seahawks end up pursuing when it comes to Pete Carroll and how much longer he'll be there. I think, look, he's going to retire at some point, but I think he got at least 2 more years. Then the rumors will really get going around Pete Carroll's future.